Welcome back to the HellUvaWillys build. On the last episode we wrapped up our radiator install. We also added in this nice little bar across the front in between the frame horns. Basically kind of like a bumper, but not really a bumper. More of a cross member, if you will. And then we also worked a little bit on the dash. We're going to be doing that in kind of like shorter segments in each video, just because there's going to be like so much work that has to go into the dash itself. On this episode, we're going to go through. We're going to set up our front end, get it bolted to the chassis. I'll go through with you guys on how we are like basically fastening it to the car. And then what we'll do is start making our front mounts for the kingpin for the front of the front end. Like, that's kind of confusing, but you get the idea. Once we have everything all set up, we can actually start fitting our hood up, which I'm really excited for because it's time to see this thing almost in like a complete assembled state. But yeah, we're gonna go through, we'll get that mounted. This might be a shorter episode, I'm not really 100% sure. It just depends on how long putting the front end together takes. We'll maybe throw some dash stuff into it. Then we will set the hood on and start getting it kind of fit. I'm going to use a stock hood on this one and cut it down to fit the kingpin because the actual kingpin hood is different, but I want a straight front on the hood compared to the kingpin's angled front. So yeah, there's a lot to do, but we're making good progress on the car so far. I'm actually really happy with where we're at right now. We're getting to the point to where things are starting to actually come together, and I'm starting to actually plan on, you know, getting things disassembled so we can paint the chassis and undercoat the car. But we do have to get through the wiring first and get this thing fired up before we do that. So on top of getting the dash done, on top of a million other things. Yeah, we're real close. Never mind. Anyhow, I'm Zach Leber. This is the Laboratory. Let's get to work. These wide jaw or long jaw C-clamps work amazing. You have a lot more room to get in a little bit farther with a shorter clamp. See, we got a gap right here. What we're going to do is take and put a ratchet strap from right here up into the window area. So that way we can pull this way. So I'm going to set it up like that. Pull up a little bit. I'll show you guys how I can close this gap up a little bit. And we're just using some cheapo ratchet straps. Pulls her in nice and tight. Let's take some measurements, make sure everything's square. Now you can see we got our front end set up. It's hanging, so we'll drill in the back part, back at the back of the fenders there. And then later on, we'll end up having to kind of push towards the body to give it a good kick up right here. And you can see it kind of do it when I push in. That'll give us a good arch for the hood itself. And once we do that, we'll put in these little brackets down here to hold it to the chassis. And that's it. I'll end up making some stanchions to bring the bottoms of the fenders out because I don't like how they're curving in right now. But that is problems for another day. Alright, so I won't actually be able to show you guys like the drilling process because of the fact that like I can't actually get the tripod underneath here along with me. So you'll have to kind of use your imagination. Drill bit, drill, makes holes, puts bolt in. Pretty easy. So you'll remember up here in our dog leg on the inside of the car, we put a piece of steel. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts, maybe 5, to attach this fender to that piece of steel through the body. So it's basically sandwiching 3 separate layers of material together to hold it in place. gives you a really rigid fit. It also makes sure that you align the body and the front end correctly, I guess. It'll make sense later, I promise. Put on your PPE, make sure you got a dust mask, make sure you got some safety glasses on. This stuff goes everywhere. It's not fun. Now that we have the rear section of the front end bolted on, we can at least set our hood into place. Now this thing's not going to be anywhere near the correct fit because of the fact that we're using the stock 41 hood on our Kingpin, which is completely different. Like, it's a very customized version of a 41 Willys. It's chopped, it's raked, there's a lot of stuff done to it. So the reason I'm going to use the stock hood is the Kingpin hood has a slant. I want the stock style body lines on this thing. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go back about 4 inches. So we're gonna take 4 inches off the back of the hood itself, cut that, and then we're gonna come down about 2 inches to bring the bottom of the hood to about right here, and we'll get it kind of sealed up tight against that. Before we do all that cutting, we probably should get the front end mounted fully, so that way I end up with it exactly where I want, because this side keeps popping up a little bit because it's sitting right on that radiator surround. And the idea is to build our lower brackets so it holds it in place, and then use the radiator surround and a cross member that's going to go through the front of the center section here to build the tilt mechanism for the hood to go forward instead of back like normal. To get started on this whole portion of the build, I'm gonna have to go through and cut the grill opening out so we can easily access the inside of the fenders right here, because the metal plate that we're gonna put in is pretty much gonna go from up here all the way down the front and then over to that little like lower bumper that we put on. So we'll make an adjuster for that on both sides, so if we need to move the front end up or down, side to side, we can still do that. So what we're gonna do is we'll grab the pneumatic hacksaw, flip on the air compressor, and tape this off, and so we can have a nice tape line all the way around to have a line that we can follow. I use a lot of tape on these projects, like 4 or 5 rolls during a build, just because to mark lines, and just makes things look nice. So let's get to work. We have the grill cut out. I also took and ratchet strapped the driver's side fender down to the chassis and got everything solid where I want it. What we need to do next is set the hood down on. I did mark where I want the peak of the hood to be up here. I'll show that in the B-roll. We're gonna set the hood down on, start getting our measurements and get things kind of lined up to start cutting it down. It's going to take a while, it's going to take quite a few cuts, but we're going to do this slow so we get a perfect fit in it. Now we may have to split this hood in half too to get it to work, because we got a long way to go back. Let's grab our measuring tape wherever the heck I set it down. And realistically, we have to go back at least 2.5 inches. And it looks like we need to go down about 3 inches or so. So I think first I need to get the hood back into where I want it. So as I bring it down, I don't end up making this gap too large, because we're going to end up recutting a lot of that down there. As it comes down, it should clean up this gap right here. If we can't, we will use fiberall to fill the gap in, and then fiberglass a new hood side down to get this thing exactly where we want it. I will have to make like a whole mechanism to go towards the back of the hood too, from the hinge, to hold everything together. And then as we close it, there'll be some type of sliders inside on both sides that'll have like hooks that'll like pull down and in, and then that'll be our latch system as well. So I'm gonna buzz 2 inches off this thing right off the rip. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my ruler and just mark 2 inches forward, even in here, instead of going like this, because you will actually make your line narrower here, and it'll throw everything off really fast. 2 inches, and just every couple inches we're gonna just make a mark. We marked our hood. We also marked the passenger side door a couple weeks ago, I can't remember now. So we're gonna take the hood out, and we're gonna take the passenger side door out and get them both trimmed down. Before we start fitting the hood up, we're going to put some of our fiberall into the seam of the door, so that way we don't have to wait on it to harden when we need to work on it. We're gonna set the hood back down and see where we end up now. And we're still about 1.5 inches ahead from where we need to be. But one thing I'm noticing is our line here is starting to really clean up. So what I want to do is take 1 more inch off the back. We're not going to go much farther than that. That inch will actually put us about 3/4 of an inch ahead of where I originally wanted to be, but it looks like the hood's starting to actually fit with the fenders really well. So I want to make sure that we don't get too far away from that. Alright, we have to take this a little bit more off to get us centered up where we want to be. And then we can start kind of cutting and fitting. Hopefully that was the last cut we had to do on the back of the hood. I'm getting tired. And I think it was because it kind of just locked it down in place. Alright. So now, yep. She's tight, but that is okay. Now we're going to start shaving the bottom of the hood off to get her to come down. I think what I'm going to do for that is stack up a couple paint sticks and tape my marker to it. As of right now, we have the hood relatively close to where we want it. I am going to have to come down about 4 inches in the front here. So basically, we're going to take 4 in the front and then slowly get it so we don't take anything off the back. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to put a couple boards back here to lift this up 2 inches in the back, and then I'm going to take 2 inches off of the front. And then we're going to see where we're at. And then if it needs to come down more, I'll keep the boards there and take another 2 inches off the front. That way we can just kind of take and lower the front of the hood down instead of shortening the back, because I'm getting really close down here in the back and I don't want to take too much material off. This does take some time, but I promise it'll be worth it when it's all done. It's going to look really neat. It'll be a little bit different than our normal. Now, I'm not going to be too worried about being 100% dialed in on this, because if we go too far, what we'll do is we'll tape the backside and then get this in the exact position. And we'll take and we'll put fiberall in all the gaps all the way around. We'll back it up with glass and then we'll dial it in from there, so that way we have a perfect line all the way around. It'll look really nice. We're getting a lot closer. This is fitting really nicely up in the front. The back, I'm going to have some work to do. I can't seem to get the body line down low enough on the hood to match the actual body itself. So instead of scrapping this whole thing, I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch above the body line all the way to like right here. That way I can drop the side panels down, leave the hood exactly where it's at because I like it, and then that will match up the body line to the hood. And then what we'll do is basically just get the body line itself in line with the way the doors kind of curve. This thing's working out really well. I'm getting really excited. We're at about 7 hours of messing with this thing at this point, so it's going to take a while. But we knew that. The hood and the dash are the last of like the really hard parts of the body. But once we're through that, then we're on to wiring and a couple other fun things. So I'm going to keep messing with this, and I'll see you guys in a minute. We have the hood relatively close. So now I'm going to show you kind of how to clean up all the edges and how I would go about making sure this thing fits perfectly. I'm going to tape everything up, like the fenders up in the cowl here, even up into this area. We're going to basically rough up all the edges on the hood itself and then get it completely snugged up tight exactly where it's going to stay once we get the hinges and stuff on. And then I'm going to take fiberall and just basically go around almost the entire edge other than the very front, because it fits really nice there. Now, once we get that done, we'll have to pull it back off and grind the backside, and then go back in with fiberglass and clean up the backside of that lip and make sure that we have something with some strength in there. The fiberall is super strong, but we want to make sure that we have some glass backing it up as well. So we'll glass the backside, and then once that's done, we'll grind into the fiberall on the outside and then put a layer of glass on the outside and then fill it to clean it up really nice. So this is the only way I could really think of getting this perfect. It's been a lot of work so far, but like this is a super important process to make sure that a car looks really nice when it's done. We have all our main cuts done on the hood here. We do have quite a bit of a gap back here, and on both sides down at the bottom we ended up with kind of a big gap, which is totally okay, and it was kind of expected. Originally I thought I was going to end up having to split the hood down the sides to get everything to come down. I decided just to kind of nudge the hood forward a little bit, and I'll correct this gap so it's like a true fit with this cowl. It's going to look a lot better than the other way, because we would have ended up with really long lines for the sides of the hood. So we're going to go through, we're going to add our fiberall around all the open gaps, and you can kind of see some of them from where you're at. There's some down here, and you can kind of see we got about an inch gap here. Totally expected, nothing out of the ordinary for like doing a custom job to make this thing fit. So we're going to get that on, and then we're going to take the trunk off and get that trimmed and ready for filler, because we don't watch fiberall dry, because that's a waste of time. Let's get to it. That was a lot of work. So we were able to get our hood set down, trimmed, and sitting correctly. Then we obviously did our filler with the fiberall around the edges. Got a little bit done on the dash today, a little bit done on the passenger side door, and a little bit done on the trunk. Still, we're going to have to go through and trim out the driver's side door, get our filler in that. Once we get that done, we'll go through and finish work the trunk and the both doors, I guess is the best way to put that. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's really simple. It just takes a lot of time. Like, this is the stuff that kills the times in the builds, is like just dialing everything in, making it nice, and making it work. We have a long road ahead with the hood and the dash for sure, but we're making a lot of progress. I have hours in just those two portions of the build. I think as of right now I have about 9 hours in the hood. I've got about 12 or 13 hours wrapped up in the dash at this point. We still have to make the hood flip forward. We still have to glass the inside of the hood. We still have to make a bracing to hold it all together. We still have to get it to actuate correctly, and there's 15 hours at least left on this hood just to get it to work, and then we got to dial it in. So they take a lot of time. These builds take a lot of time. But if you have the patience, you can make something really cool. This is coming out insanely cool. I'm super excited about it. In the next couple weeks, it's going to start really coming together, and it will be fully assembled, I guess. The main body will be fully assembled to where we can start wiring, which is what I'm really excited about. I want to hear this car run. So the plan is we'll get the full assembly done, get everything dialed in with the doors, the hood, the trunk, get the dash wrapped up, get that mold built, get that part built, and then we will slowly start the wiring. Once the wiring's done and the car's running and we can operate the car on its own power, we're going to pull everything back apart. We're going to undercoat the car, undercoat the fenders, the hood, the front end, all that type of stuff, and also going to prime the body. So we'll go through some of the body work and stuff that's going to be involved with this car. I do need to make some inner fender wells for it, but I'm going to have to wait till we build the headers for the engine. So like I said, there's a lot to do, but it's coming together quickly. These cars are work, but they're super rewarding when they start coming together. Like, I'm very excited about where I'm at with this thing at this point.
I want to tackle the rest of the hood and the dash here over the next 2 weeks or so, and I want to start getting things set up to get the hood to articulate forward. I keep saying articulate because it makes me sound smarter. Basically, I just want it to flip forward. It's going to pop up like 2 inches and then kind of slide forward, so it'll go, I want to say at least at a 45, but if we can get like a 60 to a 65 degree angle on the hood, I think it would be really cool, because once we get everything cleaned up underneath the hood, I want to put some lighting on the hood itself, so when the hood's open, it'll shine down over the motor and really show it off. But that's projects for way down the line at this point. But we're going to stop it there. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I have a lot of editing to do. I think I have like 2 or 3 videos right now, because I'm going to try and get this set up to where we for sure have a video every week, and we have something in store for you guys here in the next 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks, a really cool video and a new section of the channel that will help promote the builds, but also teach you guys a little bit about the history and why, like, I myself and a lot of people that build cars do what we do. So until then, I'm Zach Leber. This is The Laboratory. And until next time, go build something. We'll see you guys.